Well, now I'll tell you something. I knew I was stepping in high cotton this morning as soon as I got up. Because when I woke up, I turned the television on and a commercial came on. And the commercial said, this morning, the Today Show is sponsored by CSEA, Danny Donahue, president. Hey, hey, that's what I'm talking about. But I bring you recognition from a little small organization that I have the pleasure of serving as its president to recognize one of the boldest, baddest men in the labor movement. I am bringing the A. Philip Randolph and Bayard Rustin reminiscent piece that has only been given to 4 people across this country to give to Danny Donahue to salute his leadership. So, I give this to you with such pleasure and sincerity.
Your friendship is more than anything, but I thank you.
Thank you so very much. I appreciate you. It feels good to say thank you to a real friend. Y'all know you can tell your real friends, right? Because you can tell them real enemies real quick, too. But see, Danny, and I say this in all sincerity, I know AFSCME, I know CSEA, and for the number of years that he was so kind and so gentle not to mention, I've been there for some of the turmoil and some of the struggle as well, but I have never seen anyone stand on principle and honesty and sincerity like the president that serves you. So know what you got. Know what you got. Danny Donahue is that kind of leader. Last night as I was coming into Buffalo, I had the distinct pleasure of being picked up by a wonderful brother. Robert said to me as soon as I called him on the phone. I said, I'm here. They're trying to find a gate to bring us in because we were late coming in and it was late at night when we got in. And I know y'all call him Bob, but I call him Robert. And I said, I'm going to grab my bag, and should I meet you inside or outside? He said, well, I'm going to be in this tan kind of traverse or something, and I'll see you right out on the edge. This brother did not make one grumbling word about being out there after 11 o'clock, getting me here after 12 o'clock. And I know what kind of program you had. Because I looked at that schedule, I got tired just reading your agenda. You all have been working, but when you get leaders like Brother Moutre, who will do that, who will make that extra trip, you have got to recognize the kind of leader that he truly is. You know, some folk get real big, they don't want to go and pick up nobody. They got somebody to send. Y'all don't know what I'm talking about, right? Or they'll say something like, well, you know, that's not what I do. Trade unionists do everything. Leaders do everything. Workers who work for workers do everything. There is nothing above or below what you are expected to do. Because I say this to you, as I was walking over with my good friend this morning, oh, Lord, Sister Love Lady Hall. Now, that's right. That sister will work you till you can't see no more, all right? Just so that we're real clear. I know how she is. I've been knowing her for a minute, too. I said to her, I'm in good shape as long as I know my first and my last name. I'm not confused about the rest of the day because every day that we get is a present from somewhere, and I know where it comes from. And to be able to say thank you for it is a blessing. So I'm not a preacher, but I am totally grateful because I know he ain't finished with me yet. I still cuss a lot. I'm not above fighting. Don't piss me off. And as Danny told you, I've existed in a man's world inside the labor movement for 47 years, so I'm used to doing this, okay? I'm used to doing this. Coming to CSEA and coming here in Buffalo, and I said to Bob last night, I didn't know it was that many black people in Buffalo. Why do they come to Buffalo? It's too cold here for black folk. Y'all get winter time in the springtime. And you know, we do a whole lot of things, but I can tell you this in all honesty. Look at my face. Black people don't like it when it's cold. So y'all must be doing something right. I'm telling you. When I came to Buffalo, and it's been over 20 plus years now, Buffalo was a town that had a lot of manufacturing, a lot of shops, because, you know, coming out of the unions that I've been a part of, because we must have merged 5 or 6 times trying to get it right. God, I hope it's right now. But we had textile mills, we had clothing mills, we had shops that made things that folks could put their hands on. And the entry-level job market was something that was wide open. You know, so Buffalo made sense for a lot of folk. And the migration from the south to the north or to the cold places was because of work. And since manufacturing left, I thought that you guys would be void of people of color, but you're hanging in there. I'm proud of you. And you even got a black mayor named Brown. You know? It confuses me sometimes, but I do try to catch up. Now, coming to CSEA, I see a lot of family and a lot of friends, and it makes me feel real good. I started jotting folks' names down. I'm going to miss some of y'all. You know it's head and it's not heart, because I love all my good friends. And don't y'all act up on me when I get off the stage. I'm a Clayola, didn't even call my name. No, because I'm old and I forget, all right? Okay. Now, one of the dynamic sisters that I saw, and I almost went crazy, I had to remember that she did not want me to make her shame in public. Denise, please stand up. Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. This sister right here took over inside of my heart organization, CBTU, the Women's Committee, which had been chaired by Josephine LeBeau for years and years, and Anita Patterson for years and years. And Denise had a hard spot to go in, because sisters, look at her now. I'm doing this for a reason, okay? Sisters can be your best friend or they can be your worst nightmare, all right? From the time she stepped into that space, she has done nothing but smile and encourage people. Every time I have seen her, she's had something good to say. Every time I have been in her presence, she has made me feel better. Every time I have watched her do her work, it made me proud to say, that's my sister, that's my friend. I am so proud of what you do. Thank you for being you, sister. I appreciate you. I truly appreciate you and your spirit. There are other good friends that are in this room, and y'all got some cute men, too. Billy was up here earlier. Where Billy at? Billy is handsome, y'all. If you slap at your knee, to take another look, okay? Because that's a handsome brother right there. Yes, Lord, he sure enough is. I'm going to keep moving because I don't want to get in trouble. Now, when I look through stuff, I try to figure out exactly where I want to go with the planned remarks. But I see that y'all just doing the work. It's not a whole bunch about, you know, plan it and stay with the program and on the script and this and that. Even though you look like that, I mean, gee whiz, you got 2 big old screens on the side. Yeah, this is high cotton. You got a teleprompter, you got cameraman who looking at me, making me nervous, one over here, one over there. You got a sound booth over on the right-hand side. I'm going to mess up, y'all. I'm telling you that right now. As I go through these remarks, I'm going to mess up, so keep up. I'm from South Carolina. I'm going to tear up the King's English, guaranteed to happen. So you got to pay attention to keep it roll with me, all right? I looked at the program, as I said earlier, and I got tired just from looking at what you were doing. And as I was talking to Sharon this morning, I said, well, Sharon, what is the magic for what's going on? You know, you can have conventions and, you know, the regular constitutional conventions, and people come and, you know, folks get in there at 8 or 9 o'clock in the session and they look beat down from the time they walk through the door. When we were coming through the hotel passageway to get here, folks were smiling. People looked happy. They were having a good time. And she said, these are not the regular delegates that come to the convention. These are leaders who are shop floor leaders, agitators, organizers, leaders within the union that make a difference, that came because they wanted to come. Leaders who have shown up in all of their workshops because they wanted to participate. I was like, damn, well, I'm home. This is good. This is good. And I say that for a number of reasons. Some of your folks who have led for a very long time find it hard to share a space. You following me? I don't care if you get mad because I'm getting on the plane going home after I get done talking, all right? So you get mad if you want to. That's on you. But when I met, I think it's that Reuben, was it? Reuben? From Next? Reuben, where are you? You young boy, you ought to be able to stand up quicker than that. Yeah. I met Reuben from Next Wave first thing this morning, and he was just full of it. Just, yeah, how you doing? You know, ready to. I had to say, Lord Jesus, he's young. Just calm down, Clayola. But when you meet someone with that kind of energy, and the eyes are on fire, and they're talking about the labor movement, you know that all that you've done all these years count for something, right? It counts for something. So thank you, Reuben, for what you're doing. Thank you. So I say to those compatriots who are around in my age group and some who are younger than me, but you're still old, all right? You've been there for a season. Thank you very much, Flo. Sitting next to Flo is a whole nother education. I'll talk about her in a few minutes. But when you get to seasoned space in your union, a part of what you must do, and they asked me to talk about bridging the gaps, that becomes your primary role. You first of all have to recognize up and coming leadership in the movement and be willing enough to bridge the gap between the generations, to take a look at who is where you used to be, to encourage them and give them the strength to know that there's going to be something on the other side that's more than just a headache. Folks can come to you with grievances all day long and you can complain about them until next year. But when somebody's willing to take on the task knowing that they're not going to get a pat on the back or a thank you after they win something for you, all you get is a what have you done for me lately, right? But when you've got new blood that's coming that want to get involved and want to do something, don't beat them to the ground. Hold them up. Talk to them, support them. Give them a shot at being that strong next wave. Let them know that this movement is all inclusive and you are not trying to die in that space that you are occupying. Okay? But the other side of that too, young folk, is understand that those of us who are seasoned, put in the time, worked the tough road, made the space to pull you in. And we can stand a whole lot longer on these 2 weak legs than you can run on them short ones that you're just building. So if you're going to do some of this, just know that you have a worthy adversary on the other side. What we want is support, being able to support you in the way that young people need to be supported without them reaching to kill us in the meantime. Am I making sense to y'all? Okay. Now, a part of being ready for that is being able to communicate, correct? I heard this morning that you all had some questions, or a question that you dealt with from yesterday about what was the most important thing that was lacking from your union, or that is to be tackled by your union. And when I looked at it, I started to smile. Because one of the main things that we must all remember is that we are not insulated just within ourselves. If we think that we can handle all of our issues by ourselves, we're already dead in the water. You understand what I'm saying? We have got to bridge a gap that's outside of CSEA, that's outside of labor, that is outside of community, that is all inclusive of who people are. Now, some of your best leaders will be people who hardly ever say anything. You know why? Because they have another platform where they're saying a lot of things. Take Flo, for example. When Mayor Brown started talking this morning, I was sitting next to her, all right? And he was talking about some of the things that he had done in Buffalo. She said, yeah, and we had to fight him for this. And he said something else, yeah, but we had to get it for the workers on that. I was going, this is my kind of sister right here. And he knew she was talking too, because every time he'd say it, Flo would be looking and he'd look over at her. And I'm sitting there feeling stupid because they talking about each other, and I'm going, trying to stay a little neutral on that court. But Flo was wearing him out, Jack. But wearing him out so that dignity and respect for the people that she represents and the union that was being recognized did not get lost in the shuffle. That's the kind of gapping that I'm talking about. Flo, I'd fight with you any day as long as we were on the same side, because I got a feeling that if you come up against you, you better pack a lunch, because they're going to be there for a while. Yeah, they're going to be there for a little while. Now, when we grab a hold of leadership inside and outside the union, we have to learn to take a look at folks. I looked at the schedule, and you guys have covered the whole spectrum of all of what it means to be a leader in these workshops. And if you're listening and paying attention, I know you are, because I'm looking at the room right now. It's enough of y'all in here to scare me half to death. You know, from the front to the back, it's loaded, people lined up all against the wall. This says that unions are not dead. This says that unions will not die. This says that members are willing to fight for their union. This says that people are going to be here and will fight you until hell freezes over, and then they'll come out and fight you on the ice. This is what a union movement is about. I salute you. I salute your courage. I salute your integrity. That's what this room says. That's what this room says. It's amazing to me. It is amazing to me. Thank you all for that. When folks get into an arena, you can hear the bad stuff all the time, right? You go somewhere and somebody says union and you go, oh Lord, I'm gonna have to fight today. Because you know some knucklehead in the group gonna say something to the left of crazy, and you're gonna be ready to pop them. Now, you got to fight that urge to keep from hitting people, because you can go to jail, and orange don't look good on everybody. I just want to tell you that, okay? So getting some of that in your workshops is a necessary thing so that you don't end up in jail. Now, I was writing down, Lynn right here. Lynn got an award. Where's Lynn? Oh, right here. Lynn, we have to talk, because that top that you are wearing is fierce, girl. You look sharp. Yes, you look sharp. But when I looked at her face when she received her award, you could see that there was real pride there. She really felt that this was something that made her even more whole than when she was doing the work. That you recognized what she did. That her work was honored. That you said to her, job well done. That's what we must do for each other on a regular basis. Some folk gonna come up and hug you and say, how you doing, and smile at you and all the rest of that good stuff. And before you can walk 10 feet away from me, I don't like her no way. That doesn't happen in CSEA, I see. Well, I'm just putting it out there, because a large part of what makes us grow is being able to help each other grow. If we stop the tearing down, we can do some building up. And it starts in our own house. It starts in our own house. Now, Asa Philip Randolph was a very peculiar kind of man. He stood 6'4" in his stocking feet. Had the sweetest baritone voice that you can imagine. When he moved, he looked like he was gliding. You know how Denzel looked when he's walking? Oh, Lord. Lord have mercy. Okay. But Asa had that same kind of effect. Now, Mr. Randolph would begin to talk and people would stop even if they didn't know what he was talking about. When he died and left this earth, he had $500 to his name because he was not in the movement for the money. He was in the movement to help people. So any trade unionist that's in this room for the money, pack your stuff, get your bag ready. We will help you move on down the road because that's not the purpose. The purpose is creating a path for what is to come with you and after you. Folks will look at you and say, yes, you got a good paying job. No, I don't. I ain't making no money, but nobody can't have no more fun than I'm having right now. I mean, to be 67 years old and be able to do what I do, Lord have mercy, thank you, God, even in spite of myself. It's a wonderful thing, and each of you who have made the commitment of all the years of your life that you have to do what you do, it's the same thing. Now, why am I talking all over the place? Because I'm family. I feel like I'm home with my family. I got a script, y'all. I can sit here and I can say very properly because I am educated. I went to Florida A&M University, got a bachelor's, went to school in New York, at York College, and got my little extra certificates, went to American University, got a little master's, got a couple of honorary PhDs, but I didn't earn them, they honorary. And I'm telling you, so I don't ask nobody to call me Dr. Nothing, because I ain't, all right? But my mother, who was as tall as Randolph, was the one who gave me my true education. My mother also stands 6 feet tall in her stocking feet. And she has the pleasure of getting me fired from just about every job I had from the time I was 15 until I was about 19. My mother was an organizer in the South and took no trash. Had a mouth that was equal to any truck driver, and that's how I learned to cuss, all right? So there it is. But what she did was make me understand that you have two things in this world. You have family and you have your dignity. And when you punch a clock at a door, at a plant, or whether it's dignified and going into the office, you don't leave your dignity at the door. You fight for your dignity every minute that you breathe. And it's nothing to you if you don't fight for the dignity of the person that's standing to the front, side, and the back of you. So I say that in all honesty, okay? Now, when we take a look at what's going on in the universe, you all know about the laws that are happening. You know what happened with Harris v. Quinn. You know what an impact that was. You know what's happening with a number of other pieces of legislation, and it starts with an F, and I know it, and right now I have my senior moment. Somebody help me out. I just wanted to see if y'all knew what I was talking about. Okay, now, if folks freak out when they hear about the things that are going to take your rights away and say, oh, Lord, what are we going to do now? You're going to do what you've always been doing. You're going to fight back. And you're going to fight back without fear. And fighting back without fear is also meaning that you don't stay inside of your house at CSEA. It means that you will partner with the NAACP. You will partner with the local churches. You will partner with CBTU, APRI, LACLA, Apollo, all of the constituent groups that are out there. You will partner with the neighborhood community activists, that same loudmouth woman or man who can turn out a crowd in 15 minutes that you work on for a month and can't get. Those are your natural partners. You will reach out to the community and tell them what's on your mind, but you don't go to the table with nothing but an appetite. Because people will feed you one time, and then they look for you to bring some groceries the next time. You understand what I'm saying? You have to get in the fight with them on the issues that they are concerned about and be an equal partner. And that's what it's going to take as long as the lawmakers in this country are making the kinds of laws that make our work, our jobs, in the really tenuous positions that they are in. I know I talk fast and sometimes I may not make sense. I need some feedback. I am one for call and repeat. So if I'm making sense to you, holla at me. Make a little bit of noise. If I'm not, say, whoa, okay then. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. I want you all, as you go through the next day or so of your sessions, to talk about who you really are, not who you want people to see you as, because you know you got your outside company faces. Y'all know what I'm talking about. You leave home, you put on your good clothes, you take a shower, put on something that smells good, and you try to act dignified and proper and show the best side of you. But when you're home and in your community, the people who really count on you, because guess what? They already see you as a leader. Because if it were not for the union, some of you would not have done some of the things that you're doing now. Coming out the country, Maybe I'm one of a few with enough number of other people, but coming from South Carolina, I know what it means to have a toilet on the outside of the house or a slop jar by the bed that grandma's gonna use and I got to go dump and be mad about it. That means that some of y'all don't know what a slop jar is, okay? All right, there's a witness right there. But if it were not for the union, I would have never been able to travel outside of the state of South Carolina. If it were not for the union, I would have never left this country. If it were not for the union, I would have never had a brand new car. If it wasn't, and I don't have one now, and they gave me one for 3 years, but I digress again. But if it were not for the union, I would not be able to do for my family what I do. So they say, Clay, why you talk about the union all the time? Because the union outside of God and family, that's all. That's all that's made a difference in my life. That's all that's made a difference in my life. So for those of you who came here with a silver spoon, feed somebody else with the silver spoon, because ones who work for a living every day have never had it. And I don't know that they're necessarily looking for it. All they want is a fair chance and a fair shot at getting what they're entitled to. That's what they're looking for. Now, how is it that we do what we do? The first step is trust. Now, married for 43 years, I learned trust very early on in my life. My husband, who is also he ain't my husband no more, he is my husband. But I was with him for 43 years, and I paid my dues, and so did he. God bless his heart. But in the very first part of that marriage, I could look at that man and just grin my eyeballs out, and teeth would be shining. Yeah, that's mine right there. I was working on an organizing campaign called J.P. Stevens in the South. And, coming out of textile, you didn't make no money, and you had to wait on that check to do what you had to do. And as a woman, there weren't that many organizers, especially black ones, going in the South. I said to my husband, I said, baby, I'm leaving on Thursday. Check don't come till Friday. I need a couple of dollars. He looked at me with all sincerity and said, I don't have any money. I said, okay, I understand that, because it was tight. Well, after he told me that, he left out the room and he went to go take a shower and he hung his pants up on the door. Ooh, help me, Jesus. Now, while those pants were hanging up on the door, they kind of slid to the side and Danny, you with me? The pants fell on the floor, the wallet fell on the floor, and the wallet kind of fell open, right? So I'm a neat little person. I picked up the pants and I picked up the wallet. Inside that wallet, because it gapped open like that right there, okay? Inside that wallet was the prettiest $50 bill that I have ever seen in my life. Now, I was determined that while I was with my husband, I was going to make him an honest man because I was going to be an honest woman. He said he didn't have any money when I talked to him. So when I went to North Carolina, he was telling the truth. He didn't have no money, okay? But in those 43 years, he could never ask me about those $50 because he had said he did not have any. So we established trust early in the game. If I asked, he gave. If he asked me, I gave, because I knew that sucker was waiting to pay me back. But it's a matter of developing relationships as you close the gaps between the community, between your church, between your unions, between each other, that the first order of business has always got to be trust. So I encourage you to remember a story that, is kind of to the left of that, but it establishes the trust that's necessary to keep a partner in good standing. The other thing is be mindful of what you ask for. And the ask, as I know Sharon encourages during her session, never talk without an ask, and you should do that on every occasion. Be careful of what you ask for. Be clear about what you ask for. Don't just ask, also be willing to give. No, and I'm going to close because I'm watching the time as you asked me to. There was a sister who had been married for, a good long time and became a widow when her husband died. When her husband died, she waited 10, almost 12, 11 years, I guess, before she decided she wanted to be out there again. So she put an ad in on, what did the young people do? Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Who is that young person talking? Right there in the red and white sweater, orange and white. Okay, that's right. Twitter, Instagram. You've been online, haven't you, sister? Okay. She put the ad out on all of those things, asking for what she wanted. She wanted someone who would take long walks with her, someone who would hold her tight as the sun went down in the evening. And she was still young enough to have desires, so she wanted someone that could make her feel whole and, make her feel whole. And so it, Sharon, I promised you, and I swear I'm going to keep my promise. Um, so just in a couple of days, someone rang the doorbell. She went to the door, and there was this guy in a wheelchair. He didn't have any arms, he didn't have any legs, but he had a beautiful smile on his face. And she said, "You're a very handsome man, but you know what my ad said. I want to go for long walks. You have no legs. You can't walk me anywhere. I want someone to hug me, make me feel safe. You can't hug me. And I want someone to make me feel whole." So he looked at her. He says, "I rang that doorbell, didn't I?" Well, Sharon is still talking to me at this point, I think. Danny has not pulled me down from the stage, I think. But I tell you this, if you take the time, if you take the time to bridge the gaps, make your questions direct, make your ask the real thing, make your willingness to help and be a good partner sincere so that your trust is established. The gaps will get smaller, the fight will get easier. You will continue to be one of the strongest unions in this country, one that everyone is proud of, one that everyone feels good saying those initials. CSEA, you all are the bomb, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart for having me. Have a good conference. Thank you all so very much.
How dare you? Let go. Let go. Let go. Let go. All of my life, too late, till you shut up with perfect timing. Now here we are, we rock it. Our fingers are stuck in the socket. It's just a nature, a game.